Decentralized Autonomous Organizations, or DAOs. So a DAO is just, again, it's just a community. It's an organization that is born on the internet. And rather than there being a traditional organizational structure, it's more of a collective, and it's managed by the members of the DAO, of the organization. And so again, we can compare it to a traditional organization where you see, traditional organizations are typically, hierarchical. Some can become even bureaucratic. They are centrally controlled, and the activities are typically kept very privately, and the exposure is very limited. So the public really doesn't know what goes on within the organization so much. Whereas in a DAO, it's a flat organization. Everyone is kind of equal, and the voting is a really big component of a DAO. And so members of the DAO need to take a vote in order to enact the changes. The reason why is because the voting is built into the system using the smart contract. And so the votes are automatically tallied, and whatever the decision was, it's automatically carried out without any intermediary. So as soon as there is a decision to make a vote, once the votes are all done and the smart contract fulfills, then it's immediately carried out. And we'll look at that in more detail. So, and again, the services that the company offers are handled in a decentralized way. So, distributing funds, it's all done through, voting and smart contracts. And the biggest change is that the activity is transparent and public, so anybody can see it, because it's all there on the blockchain. And all the technology that powers it is also transparent and public. So it's a huge paradigm shift. And the way it works is it's powered by smart contracts. And the contracts will define the rules of the organization. And one thing I found was really interesting was that it also controls the treasury. So you define the rules of the treasury, how the treasury disperses the funds. And once a contract is live, it cannot be altered except through voting. And also it can't be tampered with either, because it's all public. All the coding, everything is public. So if someone tries to tamper with it, it'll be noticed right away, because typically the decentralized communities are very tech focused and are constantly checking the underlying systems, constantly scrutinizing it. So there's always going to be eyes on the system. And again, decisions are made by voting. And then, so you make a decision, right? Let's say you put forth a decision like, oh, how are we going to spend the money? And then, let's say you set up a smart contract, and then everybody votes. And then once the votes are tallied and the decision is made, it's carried out automatically. And this is how a DAO is built. So now, how does membership work? Well, there's two ways that you can be a member of a DAO. Number one is token-based. So so again, it comes down to voting rights. You have voting rights when you have possession of the token. And this is typically used for more broad scope, decentralized, DAOs, decentralized DAOs. It's more for broad scope DAOs, like charities. This is more, so the membership is now permissionless. So you don't need to submit any documentation or anything. Actually, the tokens can be traded on a decentralized exchange. So if you don't want to be a member, you just trade out your tokens and someone else can become a member, and then they get the voting rights. You can also earn membership by providing liquidity or proof of work. One example of a token-based DAO is MakerDAO. So that's token-based. Again, and then on the flip side, you have share-based. So share-based DAOs are more close-knit, and they're good for charities, investment clubs, something like that. Again, you need more permission to join into a share-based DAO. And in this case, rather than just buying a token, you have to not only buy a token, but you also need to submit a proposal to join. But then you can also buy shares by working, or tokens. And so with when you have shares, you also have that much ownership or voting power. So I guess in this way, it can be compared to a traditional organization, in that the more shares you have, the more ownership you have, and the more voting power you have, but the more responsibility you have. So it does balance out. And you can check out Moloch DAO to see an example of that. But I think their website is down, so I don't know when that'll come back online. And so how do we apply? So how does a DAO look like, applied in the real world? The three main applications of this DAO system is through charities, freelance networks, and of course ventures and grants. And in a charity, they accept membership donations from anybody, anywhere, right? So they obviously they want to accumulate as much membership and donation as possible, and so they can build up as much of a network, and they can also figure out where the funds can be distributed. And again, the funds get distributed based on the vote. You can see an example of this with Endaoment, right? They've even they're very niche, but you can see they can raise money. They can really raise a good amount of money. So, and they're not really they're not limited by bureaucracy. So they can quickly just make a decision, vote on it. Another example is like freelancing. So you can set up networks of freelancers that will pool their funds, and you can vote on office space and software subscriptions. An example of that is Freela. They're a DAO that matches freelancers and job postings. They're pretty interesting. They have their whole pitch deck and their white paper right on their right there on their front page. And the third example of an application would be a venture. So with ventures, you just like with DeFi, you pool the money and you vote on the ventures that you want to back, and whatever money that gets paid back gets redistributed through the members. An example of that up here would be a Dao.vc. So you can see how the DAO and the decentralized finance starts to kind of mesh together. You want to do some lending, right? You can form a DAO and you can pool your money together in a network, and you can use one of those decentralized applications to power your network and lending. So it all starts to come together, and all of it is on the blockchain, open source, and pretty much free to start for anybody. And yeah, that pretty much covers it. That's the two different decentralized autonomous organization, a DAO, and decentralized finance. So, between yesterday and today, we covered, smart contracts, decentralized applications, tokenization, decentralized finance, decentralized organizations. And so these are some of the major activities or developments that are taking place in the crypto world. It's kind of, I guess you can call it like a sort of the foundation of this new system that's taking place. And they all are interconnected. DAOs and dApps are all powered by smart contracts. And, DeFi is also using dApps and smart contracts and can interact with DAOs. So it's very fascinating. And I know it's a lot to take it all in, but this is really just the infancy. So it's going to keep evolving and growing, I think, from here. It's going to be completely different in 5 or 10 years, but it's amazing what can be done already. So that's pretty much it. Everyone clear about that? Any questions to anything so far? Cool. All right, so that's everything for today. And if you have any questions, please leave a comment. Thank you.